Uzi. Honestly, OMG, they can just slam the Xayah and Rell here, and Aki is more than happy to take that Rell matchup, which could also be flexed towards the support, and against Sejuani 2 times in a row.
What about Ksante? What about Ksante? Because Rell has been a flex here. Aki's played it. Of course, Ppgod in the split has played it as well. Aki could pick it up, but Wukong instead coming out here. And then there's Shanji's Ksante. So they're giving over Rell in the 2v2. OMG just have their priorities elsewhere.
Interesting. So this is nerfed Wukong, where he has received a slight nerf in terms of his damage in the early game clear to his E. So we have the Renekton response into Shanji's Ksante. So we're just defaulting to comfort, especially for the side of OMG, with Aki playing the Wukong. And something that stands out to me in particular for this OMG squad is the reason why OMG found so much success in the spring playoffs was through Aki and was through his Wukong. So maybe they want to just go back to what has been working for them in this year so far and kind of disregard the fact that Rell did work for them, but it didn't look great in the early game.
I just love that EDG putting respect on a Game 5 Samira from Abel. Especially since, you know, on 4-5, if EDG are going to pick up their mid, something like the Neeko that's still open and available, that it could just enable that Samira or Rell to come through. Of course, Kitty, we also forgot to mention that, you know, Arla on something that can deal well in lane feels like a great edge for EDG to play through. Supports are getting taken off from OMG's side, getting rid of the Nautilus here. Rell probably soon to come as Rakan on top of that. And we're going to have a very shrinked pool here for both Meiko and Ppgod. I wonder what's left and available. We might get the Leonas again, you know? Yeah. We might get something like the Renatas coming through. Who knows?
We do have Xayah up and available for Abel to pick as that counter. Honestly, what if this is an AP Kaisa for FoFo in the mid lane? Who knows? Because they technically do also need someone to counter the static shiv that Creme most likely is going to go. And OMG kind of banning out the mid lane pool even further, but I feel like getting rid of Neeko in the current patch is a bit of an interesting one because she did receive a slight nerf to her ultimate, where that is going to be the reason why she falls off a cliff in terms of priority. But once again, bring it back to what is EDG going to pick. Rell is still up and available. Meiko can just lock that in. Although Alistar can be used as a counter, it's not going to be the case.
Okay, running Viktor mid for FoFo. I mean, very different angle. This is something, you know, my old mid laner now in Vertex swore by. He's loving Viktor at the moment into a lot of these mage matchups, but LeBlanc, mage assassin. You know, Kitty, it's going to be a different story. Seeing Viktor Reznov through mid while Abel picks up Ezreal, and there's that Rell we've been talking about. I mean, draft is not going the way I expected it.
Ezreal paired alongside the Rell is going to be quite the interesting one, because I feel like Ezreal doesn't have enough consistent damage in the early levels to really utilize this Rell pick to its full potential, but that is going to be locked in for the side of OMG and EDG. They saved this support counter pick for Meiko. Is it going to be the Grag? Is it going to be the Maokai support that has been finding time in the LCK and the LCS, seen as a counter into the Rell with that Bramble Smash? They're considering it.
Gragas is one as well. Gragas is a good counter, but Alistar's also up and available. So what's it going to be? Meiko smiling. In a Game 5, we get a Maokai support. What are we cooking up here?
I can see the Maokai support working. You have a root against Ezreal and LeBlanc. So that's just a confirmed CC onto very mobile carries for the side of OMG, but like you said, the Viktor getting locked in as that response into the LeBlanc B1 from the side of OMG. I feel like Viktor has a relatively even laning matchup up against the LeBlanc. You kind of scale side by side, but you do have the ultimate that does act as a slight silence, I believe. So
he's had some pop-off games, he's had some crazy games, but Abel in recent form as well. It comes down to this, folks. EDG versus OMG, Game 5.
It's been a long night, Hysterics, but it all comes down to one. We have Ezreal getting locked in for Abel. We have Wukong, Aki defaulting back to his comfort, but this time around, Creme having something a little bit more mobile. Exactly what he excels at when it comes to these games is just what OMG is going to rely on. But this time around, EDG, I feel like the Viktor and the Renekton, also the Sejuani in the hands of Jiejie, they are looking for those explosive 5v5s, especially with Meiko saving that counter support position and responding with a Maokai where those Nature's Graphs is going to really ruin OMG's chances in terms of finding tempo.
As you said, you know, seen as a response to Rell at the moment. That and the Gragas, even the Alistar to throw in. I mean, the Alistar definitely a more traditional style of support, but for EDG, pulling out some of these picks off the fringe of a game number 5, as jungler's going to be spotted out, or at least one of them. Jiejie starting on his red side, up in this top side, while Aki is on blue, but no ward to spot him out yet. So we'll just see how EDG get to tracking him. As also Arla in this Renekton versus Ksante matchup, which by a lot of pro players has been seen as one of the best matchups at the moment to play, considering that also you can shred shields with Renekton W and absolutely body the laning phase if Ksante doesn't know how to play it.
Time and time again, I will reiterate this point. Renekton should be finding early leads against Ksante. Arla hits level 2, gets the combo off with this Conqueror stacking as well, and that's what you expect out of a good Renekton. The flashes...
Ppgod crashed down the disrespect in front of a Maokai, who just hit level 2. I think that was also timing. Flash gone. Meiko using his own. He doesn't have X-Flash like Ppgod does, but still, flash for flash.
You see both junglers now pathing towards the bottom side, but OMG, time and time again, you see in the series, they are extremely vulnerable to early aggression, especially Jiejie on the Sejuani, where he has been extremely impactful in the early game. Or Aki on the other side, we kind of want to see more from him, but given something like the Wukong, the clear is going to be a bit slower compared to the previous patch of Wukong, but once you do hit the Cyclone, I mean, those chokes are going kind of a Wukong's dream to fight in playing alongside Ppgod's Magnet Storm as well. They have a bit of a wombo combo. I'm having a brain fart.
A classic?
No. The worrying fact for OMG's comp is that they don't have consistent damage. They rely on Abel hitting every single Q on this Ezreal. You can't just do auto against a Kaisa. You also need Creme to be constantly finding little pokes onto the enemy team where this Viktor will get eventually shred down. So it kind of counteracts the point of OMG, because you think of the Rell and the Wukong instantly engaging and committing a full-on 5v5, but LeBlanc and Ezreal, they want to play a little bit slower.
Yeah, look, as you said, not consistent DPS. And the fact is that once we get to late game, there's a Sejuani, even a Renekton as a meat shield, the Maokai, as you'd expect, up against Kaisa Viktor. Think about chokes then. At 30 to 40 minutes in the game, it's going to be a very different story. So, all I can say to you, Kitty, is this feels like we're on a bit of a timer then for OMG, or at least we need to see a bit of pace coming through in the early game. As you said, Cyclone to come in is going to be really important. I think as well, around some of these skirmishes, first couple of fights, Ppgod syncing up with Aki a little bit here, and just giving the free reign for Abel and Creme to play around as they so choose.
Aki's doing the thing again where he's just emoting to see if the enemy laner reacts to his own emotes. He's playing mind games.
What class is Shanji? His jungler's going to get spotted out. Jiejie now coming in, though. He has not been spotted as Arla. It's a bait in. Shanji flashes away. But Arla gets out with hardly any HP. He's got teleport. So does Shanji. But it is the summoner advantage to EDG have walked away with.
The stakes of this game 5, you see Shanji being a little bit scared. I don't think it was necessary for him to burn the flash there. You had Aki around the corner as well. Arla was way too low to re-engage that, with a huge minion wave also pushing in as well. But like you said, that's -1 flash for the side of OMG, while Aki most likely just gonna path towards the bottom side. Top lane, it should be relatively even once Shanji hits level 6 and he's able to pick up that Bramble Vest, but you kind of do have to help him to get to that stage first.
6 CSing coming out of Arla as well. Teleport going to be burnt in mid too. Shanji top side, Arla top side. FoFo getting a help push out from Meiko. just to make his first back as well here on this Viktor. But note that Creme has been doing pretty well in the lane. He's going to have this full wave to clear, and then should be up by 7-8 CS here in mid. So far, good here for Creme, who... Oh, last game, I don't know if you're ever going to live that down. That's like a Jackie Love. I think Jamada said on Twitter, you know, it's like a Jackie Love Game 5 finals moment. It's not the, you know, the same level of competition because that was Top Esports versus EDG in only recent history. And Jackie loves Zeri, ladies and gentlemen. We all know it. We all know Jackie loves Zeri. Creme last game, same feeling. What was he doing? But past that point, not important right now. He's got to redeem himself here in this game as EDG are walking towards Dragon. They've got a numbers disadvantage till Uzi comes in. Shattering Strike's there, but Meiko's base damage is so high as there's a flash. Arctic Assault. Dragon goes down to OMG, but it's first blood. Over to this Maokai as Creme's next up with a Permafrost. He'll get locked in place. Followed up with a Twisted Advance. Meiko gets a double kill on the tree support. And EDG will get a gold advantage to open up this game.
This big tree is absolutely schooling OMG in these skirmishes. Lucky for them, they were able to secure that first Hex Dragon going to their pockets, so they do have an extra 5 minutes if they want to play for the late game. But we take a look at the replay. There's a reason why Meiko locked in the Maokai support as that final counter. The Rell pretty much can't play the game, and if Creme goes in accidentally, the root from the Maokai is going to be insane as well. And you also have the field force getting dropped by FoFo. It just seemed like a very synergized team fight coming out of the EDG squad. Finally, Meiko getting that final root. Bit of a KS, honestly. I would have preferred it going over to FoFo, but is he gonna go for the Radiant Virtue or the Even Shroud is gonna be my question for this Game 5.
Or, you know, he is the carry now. So, definitely, you know, I mean, it's not solo queue. It's Game 5 of playoffs. We all know we'd love to go something like a Leandri's or something crazy as a Maokai support, but of course, Meiko's not going to do that. As you said, probably looking like that could be the Even Shroud. As a side note, Kitty, Meiko almost level 6 as well, so Nature's Grass will just heat up this bottom lane. Also, as another note, Twisted Advance, Nature's Grass gets a stack of second skin for Uzi. So, it's actually a nice duo with the Kaisa where you get a free way to ult in.
Until Ezreal gets that Essence Reeve as that first item, we won't see too much damage from this OMG squad. Just quiet, you already see EDG taking full advantage of this and getting that Rift Herald into their pockets while they traded the first dragon. Aki, he's level 6 though. I don't know if he can look because there's double summoners for both Uzi and Meiko here.
It's just crazy to me that EDG are getting both sides of the map. As you said, Aki now coming in, but the difference is that EDG already got bot. He's late to this kitty. Meiko can now get a bit of vision, but he's gone a bit too far. There's the crash down coming in. Uzi trying to outplay it, but Ppgod as he gets blasted. Uzi still going forward. He's 1v3 at the moment. He has the ult available, goes back into Abel. Got flash under turret, one too many. Abel walks away. Uzi was feeling himself, but in the end, it's a bridge too far.
I saw a world where Uzi trades 2 for 2 there, but the minions block him from getting that final order onto Abel. Now, the Rift Herald gets placed in mid lane for FoFo. That's 4 plates for this Viktor to eat down on, but I feel like that was an avoidable play from the side of Meiko. You had no right to be face-checking a tri-bush.
Just press E!
Just press E, flash over the wall, just get out of this situation. You had no right to be walking up visionless into the enemy jungle when your own jungler secured the Rift Herald without being contested. So Aki had to find something in the bottom side.
I mean, here as well, the voices in the head. The
voices. Minions. The cannon's so fat, it blocked Uzi from trading 2 for 2. That would have been huge.
And look at that, cannon all in the trunk. As he dies in the end. Now, Kitty, the kill does go to Aki. It's a Wukong early. That could be problematic. But still, EDG are ahead. EDG are ahead by, let's do some math, 1,500. So early game still looking good. And bot still in an advantageous position. Herald pushed mid. FoFo got some plating. That's also good. However, now I have to question here as OMG got first dragon. Second one's coming up in a minute. Aki's going to be quite big. I wonder if OMG are going to look for the contest here, Kitty. and play off some of those engage tools that we talked about earlier.
I want Jiejie to be playing for Uzi this game. We have Kaisa versus Ezreal in Game 5. And Kaisa is a notorious counter against Ezreal. Every single time, the Kaisa can just 100-0 the Ezreal while he needs to work with space and he needs to land those Qs. This time around, Jiejie, he decided to pop the Rift Herald in the mid lane. I'm assuming he is going to secure this dragon and put extra pressure onto the AD carry of OMG, who doesn't have double summoners, but that could be a loophole for EDG to really start bullying down OMG's early game.
OMG have to walk to lane in full vision. Jiejie has now come into this picture as Ppgod and Abel still getting poked out. Another bit of vision that has just gone down as meanwhile, OMG, it's this same play in the choke. Arla's just dead. Every Ksante in the LPL now, Kitty, just pulls them to this little corridor and brings their jungle in.
That's a Cyclone committed from Aki as well. And extra plates into Shanji's pockets. I'm assuming he also has the Demolish, but this is where the matchup gets evened out with the Bramble Vest getting picked up by Shanji as well. But look at the zone from Meiko and Jiejie. Abel has had a rough series tonight. I'm gonna be real, not because of just the gap between AD, but just purely because of the presence from jungle and support. On the other hand, Aki, I mean, he is acting a lot better in this final game on the Wukong. He has a Sunders as well, but he needs to bail Abel out a little bit if he wants to even out the early game.
I think Abel, had one good game, but ultimately EDG have been constantly hovering bot. Jiejie has been playing that G mentality. I did not mean that. It's a pure gank Uzi bot over and over and over and over again. EDG now with 2 plates in this said bottom lane will continue ganking over and over and over again. Ppgod blocking for his AD carry, but this is turning into a dive. Tanked on up as Mango juggles aggro for the time being, but the teleport comes in, and with a turret shot onto Uzi, he's in trouble. He still has the ulti to reposition as now Meiko has to work out how he gets out of there, but Aki and Creme are both here. They'll take him down. And with that turret dive, they pay the cost. Aki now with yet another kill.
EDG too greedy with that dive. They should have just taken Ppgod and left through the lane, but walking into the jungle of OMG, they get cut off by Creme and Aki, which both the LeBlanc and the Wukong can cheat tempo with their ability to dash over the wall, but at the end, the hero of the moment is Shanji on this Ksante, finds the kill onto Arla, pushes the wave in, Giga chats it, TPs to the tower, and helps his bottom lane as well. Aki, if you're not going to be able to do it, he's gonna do it. And he saves Abel from this disaster of a lane.
Yeah. Shanji, Aki, and Creme, like, the Avengers are here. Da, 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 da. Abel, that, the one guy in the street about to be crushed by a car, and Captain America comes flying in. What an absolute legend.
Captain America doesn't fly.
I don't know, but he drops in. You know what I mean? He drops in. I don't know, Thor flies in. I've seen it, but it's because Eternals was so garbage. Everything else is out of my mind. One bad movie overrides all the good ones. You know what I mean? Everyone who's seen Eternals has to agree. If you don't, you got no taste. I'm sorry. I'll take that to the grave with me.
After the Endgame from Marvel. I just never watch, unless the Spider-Man movies. Those are pretty good. I highly recommend them, but Eternals, not too sure about that one. Back to the game, though. We do have Rift Herald spawning up in 5 seconds, and EDG, they have all their ultimates. While on the other hand, I mean, I feel like Shanji, he needs to find a great angle to get onto either FoFo and Uzi if they want to find a successful team fight.
EDG can take turret first. That's a gold. That's gold rather pushed back into their pockets, an advantage that they still hold. It's 1,500 that they've maintained. Remember, getting that dragon means that EDG are on a pretty even stake in the objective department as well. Herald going to be taken here, Kitty. Maybe for the second time, as Creme with the static shift is just going to be pushing sides. And we are one item territory for everyone. Please, take it away. I'm ready just for more action because the way Game 4 startled me up, I can't be too slow for too long.
Double Radiant Virtue picked up for the side of EDG as well in terms of Meiko on this Maokai support. So that's going to be really interesting. He's going to have extra health in terms of going in and finding those routes onto the important members, right? Abel and Creme are the ones he's kind of staring down at in these team fights. But that's Essence River picked up for Abel, so his life is going to be a lot easier. The huge item is still Manamune for this Ezreal. So OMG, honestly, duck their heads down, wait until the 2-item spike, and then start forcing things. Unless Shanji finds a good angle onto Arlo once again. Because I feel like this matchup, when isolated, if Ksante is able to find a single lead and get the Bramble, now he has the Thornmail as well, the Renekton's really going to struggle in challenging the Ksante, and he's just going to tear down at those towers.
With Gold Drinker now up and available, I mean, Arlo's just absorbed so much gold from this top side. Jiejie now walking in to help up FoFo. Creme is a LeBlanc, though, one of the hardest champions to gank. So this is very optimistic, hoping to land something in the ways of ulti, open up for the Herald. Maybe, just maybe, they time it up with the Dragon coming up in about a minute. It's Mountain, going to be a Mountain Soul. EDG go back towards mid to get priority, while down bot side, I mean, this is happening. Shanji with just a Thornmail outright, trying to take the 1v1.
Creme's looking for a poke onto Jiejie though, but this Sejuani is getting played around, leashed around by Creme.
Ulti flash, Ppgod gets over it. FoFo drops his W,
no!
but it doesn't matter. Aki picks up the kill. Abel almost snipes it from downtown, but it is Aki yet again here as EDG plan a bait. I believe Lens, I'm not sure if Lens did see them, but it opens up the top side for Creme to take a turret and put OMG in the lead.
Jiejie is cracking on the pressure. That flash was unnecessary, especially when you get initially caught out by the side of OMG. I mean, this is great news for OMG fans because the reason why EDG was able to find so many wins and successful early games is through Jiejie. But this time around, without their own jungler, they're going to start up the Dragon. But I think OMG can contest this.
Well, Teleport's going to show us that, yes, absolutely they can. Ppgod's Magnet Storm not up and available, though. Aki with no Cyclone. OMG, if they contest this, they are running out of ultimates and abilities. There's no poke to come through, but Creme still over the wall, hit hard by FoFo. The Ignite's there, and Dragon is not snuck under the guise of EDG. Shanji just has to walk away, and that'll be their objective. Trying to contest without those big ultis as well, Kitty. Very ambitious from OMG.
Not too sure what Creme's attempt was on that LeBlanc as well. Diving into 3, but EDG just instantly locking down Creme from having backline access. And that's, like you said, second Dragon going towards EDG. Although they were the ones kind of behind in tempo. Creme TPs doesn't W back. It's so disrespectful from this LeBlanc. Has the flag because I believe Uzi hit his Void Seeker onto this LeBlanc. And he's just in the middle of everyone again.
All right, Creme.
Settle down.
Getting spotlight for some pretty wrong things here. And it's not like this guy is feeling pressure, you know? A lot of casters, a lot of people say like, oh, they're in big situations. They're rookie, but Creme's not a rookie. Not even close anymore. He's been in the LPL long enough, and only last split did he make top 4. But this is a potential Worlds contender. That's what a lot of people think. They're number 5. 11-5 was their finish, and with top esports being consistent, then inconsistent, some people turn to OMG to be maybe a filler for that 4th spot that we get at the World Championship. But even though this game's not done, there's some moments here in this series that make you think. But, I mean, the same can be said for EDG. If EDG win this series, I'm not sure if this team's going to Worlds. Like, it's like I'm not sure if Weibo's going to Worlds. I'd love for all teams, you know, maybe 6 teams that we have in the LPL to go to
Send all 10
Worlds.
teams. Just give LPL 10 spots.
Oh,
Creme?
I would not send current WE at Worlds, no offense. They are out. I would send RNG to Worlds, because they're also out.
I mean, the problem with these best of 5 series, it's a game of exhaustion at this point, because we've had so many games tonight where you will see these mistakes, micro mistakes, especially coming out of the lane. It's just like that out of Jiejie.
Okay.
Glacial Prism misses, but the stress is really getting to the players, and we need to remind the audience that this series determines either OMG or EDG securing regional finals.
Regional qualification. Not finals.
Finals.
Not finals. Because remember, regional finals is 4th seed at Worlds. So regional finals is like day 4, after we've done finals, after we've done a couple of days, regional qualification, but further to your point, it will secure a potential for regional finals, right? Like, regional finals in the sense that they might have another chance, depending on their seeding, how many championship points they get. It's usually the teams that do well in spring and not too well in summer that are in that elimination match straight off the bat. I remember, I think it was 2020 or 2021, FPX and IG, after winning Worlds with their big rosters, were in that match. And one of them had to go home. And so it's kind of like, EDG could be in that position with Jiejie, with Ala, like with Meiko mainly, and could be in that elimination match. It's still huge, considering that, yeah, you might get the chance at regionals, but it might not be the best chance, even if you're eliminated right now. We're heading towards Baron, though. Trying to get the setup here. OMG have priority first, but EDG a couple of good wards towards the pit.
I'm gonna be real, Hysterics. OMG have no right whatsoever forcing Baron. They have an Ezreal and they have LeBlanc. They have no damage unless the entirety of EDG are dead, including Jiejie. So the Dragons are going to be the main objective that both teams are going to play towards. But you already see Creme being a bit of a threat in the side lane, picking up the Dark Harvester as well. Was that flash from Meiko? It was, and it didn't connect onto Creme.
Unlucky. I mean, again, this LeBlanc is running them around the end. And fighting to try and kill a LeBlanc, it's so difficult. Meiko without the flash, as you said, we're about to see it now on a ward too.
Slow-mo as well. I mean, at least now you know that Meiko doesn't have flash, right? With the dragon also spawning in 50 seconds, Creme is most likely going to do a similar play from the previous dragon fight, but this time around, without that insta-engage from the support of EDG, he can potentially get some huge damage onto Uzi and FoFo. We'll have to wait and see because the vision setup is belonging towards EDG right now.
Aki trying to make a play from over the wall to find Uzi, but he's just out of range. It's 25 seconds curve towards the end of that dragon. At least it's spawn. EDG would be heading towards third. As right now, FoFo's backing away. Ala has decided to walk down this path. If OMG find an engage, Ala will be a bit away, but FoFo is now just teleported in. Poking Abel. Creme trying to find an angle. As getting this dragon away from the Renekton, from the Maokai, and better yet, putting it on top of Shanji is a big priority.
Both teams can't lose too many members because that can result into a Baron, but you need Abel landing those Qs if they want to find a successful 5v5. Creme also having the Dark Harvest and Static Shift. Look at the poke.
Creme jumps on in, takes poke. Meiko follows him this time. Doesn't need the flashes. The Chaos Storm ripping down, but Ppgod getting the 3-man Magnet Storm is huge. Watch that croc though in the backside. Arla taking no damage, bursting down all the same. Meiko jumps back in, and Uzi gets all the second skins in the world. They can't kill the croc, and OMG have been disintegrated.
And you see the 4-man unit of EDG now working their way towards the Baron. No smite available. Aki still 20 seconds from that death timer. But this is the problem with OMG's composition. How do you fight a 5v5 with Ezreal and LeBlanc? The Wukong ended up doing the most damage.
That could have been the fight, Kitty. That could have been the fight that leads EDG into the glory versus top esports. That locks in regional qualification. It's early days, but Baron now picked up. Gold lead now secured. And we look at the fight again as it was all over this dragon as Creme, again, tries to jump in. So ambitious.
I mean, this Maokai pick as the final counter for the side of EDG is just making Creme's game unplayable as the LeBlanc. Uzi flies over with her ultimate as well, and I mean, just everyone's forced out because you need Abel on this Ezreal to be doing the damage, but I believe Aki on the Wukong with the Cyclone ended up doing top damage, and that's not what you want to be seeing. You want to be seeing OMG utilizing Creme's ability to get pressure into the side lane and really give over these major objectives until it's too late. I mean, EDG, it was only soul point, it wasn't soul, so OMG could have ducked down for another 5 minutes.
But now they can't. Now they're in such a dangerous position. A 4K gold lead as the dive towards mid. It's Uzi straight on in, destroys Abel. Just like the last fight, he's taken charge. The master puts the student in place as now the base is going to be pushed down as well. EDG with 3 mid, 2 top. Inhibitor turret at 25 minutes is going to drop. And while there is a wave threatening bot side, EDG are threatening double inhibitor off of one fell swoop as there's the Nature's Grass to fly on in. EDG want to try and find the pick that ends the series. But to their dismay, they can't do it yet. Creme jumping in has never scared me more watching a LeBlanc. But for now, EDG will wait for the next wave and use this Baron even further. Already 4,000 on the Baron power play.
Abel did manage to respawn though, but we have 3 items online for Uzi. All he needs to do is hit 2 Void Seekers, the ultimate.
Engage. Cyclone into the backside, but again, no one's touching Uzi. He's just sitting there waiting for second skin. He's got an angle to run on in as Ppgod's going to be next on the menu. He doesn't need the ulti. The rest of EDG are playing with their food. OMG started this in front of their turret. They tried to make their last hold. But EDG now, with 4 death timers, will be able to do what they came here to do. In a 5-game series with Creme watching, the master sits the student down and Uzi progresses in this roster that took a chance on the old legend. They now return to stage up against top esports. They'll lock in regional qualification for a shot at Worlds, and they'll knock down OMG in our 5-game banger in round 2.
And with the series going to 5, OMG, they are completely devastated, especially with Game 4 being in their hands. They could have been the ones taking the series away from EDG and them being the ones qualifying for the regional qualifiers. But unfortunately, micro mistakes and the exhaustion showing through the players, EDG, they come out on top.
And EDG in a